Okay, I believe we are live. I just like to double check on my personal page to make sure that it's actually up on there and running. Yep, there we go. It gives me the red ring all around my little video. Hello,
Nice.
hello, hello, beautiful unicorns. I'm Yana Kasperzak, founder of Empathy Unicorn Academy and host of this podcast, Get Your Shit Together podcast. And I help women who are tired of treating their business like a hobby. And I help them ditch their good girl conditioning and reprogram their minds and finally build a business that is soul aligned and that they are obsessed with without the hustle, without the burnout or self-doubt, because the truth is that none of us need another one of these cookie cutter type of strategies and approaches. We just need clarity, confidence, energy, and support for us to show up as the true, real, authentic you, right? Ourselves. And that's exactly why I do what I do, why I'm here to help you do that, and why I bring on the guests that I bring on to help you on that journey and a journey that we just call a life. And today's guest is one of those women who embodies the magic of being truly and fully herself. And I can't wait for you all to meet Megan, who is metaphysician, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, reverend minister and a mindfulness facilitator who helps women bring magic, meaning, and self-awareness into their everyday life through the lens of raw honesty and realness, not perfectionism, not pretending, but true, pure presence. So, Megan, tell us, or more like take us back to the beginning. What sparked your journey into becoming all that you are today? You're muted, Megan.
I always love
There.
this question. Excuse me, I have a dog that's like wanting to be part of this now. Do you want to come be a part of this? No.
Wants the attention, wants to be on camera too,
Here.
right? Like just some kids sometimes.
Um, we'll get Phineas involved here. This is Phineas. He's a Leo, so it doesn't. No, I'm sorry. He's a Gemini. He's a Gemini. So, the Leo's in the other room. Uh, I always love that question. Thank you for asking that. The This wasn't like a I can pinpoint this exactly is how I got to this point. My mother always liked to say that my journey was very much like that poem, A Road Less Traveled, because I definitely took the road less traveled by, and it has made all the difference.
Hmm.
And my career has been a number of different things. I've been a salesperson. I've been a salesperson who sold shredding services. I've done mortgage origination. I've sold liquor. You name it, I've sold it. I was an alcohol distributor. So I've also been a massage therapist. I still am. I've been a coach manager, which I am now, and so many different things. I started, I can't even say I started then. When I was a kid, there was something about religion and theology and everything that really appealed to me and really drew me in. But there was also this need to question everything. I was constantly question everything, and I didn't understand why I was questioning everything until I discovered philosophy. And philosophy showed me that it was okay to ask questions.
Hmm.
And the more I really dove into learning more and more about philosophy, the more I fell in love with it, and the more it led me to learning more about theology, different religions and everything, which led me to become an interfaith minister, which led me on the path to become a metaphysician. And not a metaphysician in terms of just energy work, but in terms of studying the philosophies of all the great Socrates, Aristotle,
Mm,
you name it. At
yeah.
a loss for the names right at the moment. I am in menopause, so um, I'm dealing with that too.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to also end that, because many women that are listening to the podcast, they're either in menopause or have gone through it or will be going through it soon, right? So it's like,
Not
here's
easy. It,
no, it's not, but we can find ways to make it easier, just like a lot of different things in life, but it's I can't speak from it because or about it because I'm not there yet. But I keep I keep hearing it. Watch your woman. um
it's on the way.
okay, so that's very, very interesting how, you know, how everything kind of came about and the different things that you tried. It's like how the path that you've been on, the different things that you've tried and done, how they connect to where you are now. Some people, like for me, hearing being in different sales roles, and then this is where you are. It's like, how do we get here, right?
It's a good question. So at one point I wanted a fallback career. I was in sales and I knew most likely for me I would burn out from that. Um it I needed something else. So I had been doing yoga and meditation and all of that and Reiki. I was also a Reiki master at that point, and I decided I really wanted to do something more along those lines and found massage therapy as a path, really more to make my Reiki practice legitimate. Because
Mm,
at the time, way back 20 something years ago, Reiki was so out there that, it just nobody understood it, nobody trusted it. And even now, people still have concerns about it, even though there's scientific studies around it that actually prove its validity, even one done at UConn Medical Center in
yeah.
Connecticut. And so I just, I said, you know what, I'll do this. And I've really enjoyed massage therapy. I enjoyed the healing aspect of it. And the healing was definitely uh, something I really was grateful to be able to bring to individuals who may have been in pain or just wanted to relax and understand how to relax the body. And I discovered more about that embodiment of relaxation, not just the mental aspect of it, but the embodiment of it. And that appealed to me more and more. And in the process of working, I was working at a YMCA and discovered that there was probably something I could add to my services to help bridge between massage therapy and like personal training. And that was health coaching. And I really was drawn more and more to health coaching. I had gone to school and got my bachelor's in counseling and public health, and I didn't want to go into counseling. I knew that wasn't my path. And my mother does that, and I think it's beautiful. I have a lot of friends who are therapists. I think it's absolutely a necessary field. Um, I just didn't want that for me. And I discovered coaching again at a time when people really weren't into it, or they connected it with Barbara Streisand in Meet the Fockers. And that was not the coach I was going to be. Uh, I
Mhm.
wasn't even sure what kind of coach I wanted to be. I thought health coaching was going to be my thing, and it still wasn't quite right for me. I didn't want to talk to people about nutrition. I didn't want to talk to people about physical fitness. Although I didn't mind it, it wasn't really my number one thing. The more I the more I took certification courses to understand a little bit more and niche down, the more I discovered all along I really wanted to work with soul work. I
Mhm.
wanted to help people to remember what they already know because their soul already has the answers.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that is so true. And this is at the core, like what you just said. I feel like this is at the core of what a true coach does is that they bring out what you already have. They already know that you know what to do, how to do it. They don't need another diet plan. They don't need another like exercise plan. It's you've already lived this many years. You gathered enough information on exercise, on diet, on your routines and habits, and all these different things. You don't need another tool. You just need to start using the ones that you already have. And that is where what it sounds like you're saying. That's how I would relate what you're saying is like your soul already knows.
To some extent. Um, yes. So I don't want to I don't want to take away the let me see how to rephrase this. I do believe tools are valuable. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think some people don't know what tools are out there that might assist them in whatever they want to accomplish. And I don't want to call it a goal because some people don't necessarily have goals. They have intentions, they have dreams that they want to actualize.
Hmm.
Whatever you want to make real, whatever you want to manifest, we'll use that word. Um, there are a number of ways to go about that. One of my goals is to help people realize that there are numerous paths to get to where you want to go. There isn't only just one way. And that's the number one thing in my entire life was there's not one way.
Yeah.
There's often more than one ways. There's definitely different ways to look at things. We're experiencing that now in the world. There's many different ways to look at things.
Yeah.
But there's also multiple ways to get to where you want to go.
Hmm.
How do you want to get there? That's my job is to help you figure out. I'll be your GPS. Here's your options. What would you like to do?
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
the hardest part is to get started for people. And this is where the tools that they have gathered over their lifetime, those are the tools that they need to get started and get going. But like you said, acquiring other tools and other knowledges and experiences so that way we're not just limited to our past and our present, that we're learning and bringing in more knowledge and more wisdom because in that process we end up having those like realizations and aha moments and they come from the new information connecting with the information that we already have, hence that aha moment and that new brain cell forming is like ah ding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We think there's only one way to use a screwdriver. I've found it works as a doorstop too. It's not just a screwdriver.
Yeah.
So there's so many different things that we can do with things. And my goal ultimately is to help people look at things a little differently and find the magic in each moment. That no matter how messy it is, the mundane is often messy, but there's
Mhm.
also magic within it. And I don't mean sleight of hand, I mean the moments of awe, the pure wonder that we can find,
Mhm.
the baby's smile or giggle, um, a beautiful autumn tree that just takes your breath away because right now near me it's autumn and
Yeah, me too.
I came across fire bushes the other day. It was gray outside and
Yeah.
this entire parking lot had fire bushes in it and they were just this vibrant red and I was
Yeah.
so stunned. I just wanted to park for a minute and just sit there and
Mhm.
bask in their beauty. That's the awe. We don't do that in our lives now. We are
Yeah.
so busy running from one place to the next that if we're at a stoplight for more than 2 seconds, we're beeping at the person in front of us because they've got to get out of my way.
Yeah. Or some are looking down at their phone back on a device and now looking out the window to see the beauty and realize that all of this is fleeting, that our life, it's long and yet it's short. It's short and yet it's long. And it's come and gone in the blink of an eye. And how many how many things will we remember about our own life? Because one thing I've actually heard recently, and it's like a light bulb went on, that this is going to be the first generation that will have a lot more memories of other people than of themselves in their own life. And it's really just mind boggling, but at the same time, yeah, it makes sense if everybody's always on their phone and they're so connected that they feel disconnected, that they're not looking outside the windows, they're not going out and enjoying and living their life in the way that is right to them, and learning how to not give a flying rat's ass over what somebody else is thinking of them, and how they're assuming or interpreting that they're living their life, because most people won't get that, they won't understand that. And those small little moments of just remembering that we're alive is what I'm really like feeling you say
I
around
had
it.
a master teacher for qigong say, "We need to be more human being and stop human doing."
Mm-hmm.
And that's really it. We're
Yeah.
constantly doing,
Yeah.
doing, and we don't give ourselves opportunities
Yeah. We've
to
become
be
human
playful.
doings.
Yeah, to be playful, to be creative, to be still.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would challenge somebody right now to experiment and do nothing at all for 1 hour. Nothing.
Ooh,
Nothing.
that's gonna be so hard for so many people.
Right? Just sit, do it for 15 minutes. Do nothing. Just sit down and do nothing. Don't read, don't count, don't think about like all the things that you have to do. Just breathe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a
I'm not
person,
asking you to meditate at all. I'm asking you to do nothing. It's so hard.
it
It is
is.
so hard.
Yeah, but it's also one of the most quickest ways to really get to know ourselves and why we're running away from ourselves and busying our focus on other things.
Well, I think we mistake filling our cup with filling our days with activities and things to
Mm,
do.
yeah,
They're not the same thing. Filling our cup can be done with doing nothing.
yes. Often that is actually how I've personally learned to refill my cup, is to, I swear in this language. That's why it's like no shit given. That's why it's like, I ain't fucking doing shit today. Mama is mentally drained. And when I'm mentally drained, I'm physically drained as well, because one body's connected to the other. So
Mhm.
I ain't doing shit today. You guys can do things for me for once. And that's okay. And just sit and do nothing feels so recharging that I don't even need the whole entire day.
Right. But most people feel guilty
Yeah,
for
they do.
taking time or saying, you know what? I need this for me. I need you to do you, or I need you to support me. Like asking for help is a hard thing for a lot of
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
I talked about that in one of my podcasts around Virgo season because Virgos are notorious for not liking to ask for help. Um, I may or may not be a Virgo.
Sounds like you are.
Yeah, but asking for help or stopping doing is so hard, and it feels like so wrong in the way our society presents. We've got the hustle culture.
Yes.
Do, do, do. Just do it is Nike's motto. Like, it's not just be it or just be. It's just do it.
Yeah.
So we are programmed by society to hustle, to keep going, not to pause. I'm not asking people to stop. I'm asking people to pause from time to time and check in with
Mhm.
yourself,
Yeah.
check in with your soul. Oh, by the way, you can do that.
Hmm.
We don't think we can do that. That's why we go, and I'm not putting this down when I say this. That's why we go to psychics. That's why we read tarot. That's why we
Hmm.
um, go to therapists. That's why we go out and we talk to our friends. That's why some people go out and drink. It's we're searching for all these things outside of us, and in
Yeah.
some cases these things make sense. Like, I am not knocking them. I have a coach, I have a therapist, I like them. I read tarot, I read oracles, I use crystals, I work with chakras, I do all of these things. I get it. I use them to commune. That's the word. Commune with myself and my soul. And I do it as work with other people. Yes, I do it as a service to help other people, ultimately, so that they find the ability that they have within themselves to commune with their soul.
Hmm. Yeah. And what would you say? Where would you tell someone to start and that has never even heard of this approach of communing with your soul, of connecting with your soul, checking in with your soul? Where would you tell someone to start?
I have to say, I like, for me, I like writing, just free writing and getting into that. But I also like prayer and meditation. I can't remember who said it, but the saying was that prayer is for asking questions. Meditation is where you receive the answers.
Hmm.
So it they work together. It's not one or the other. And I think a lot of people equate prayer with religious, and it's not just a religious tool. It's a tool. It's another activity that we can use in our lives to understand things. So we have these questions. So sit down and ask the questions. But if you're going to ask the questions, pause to receive the answers.
Yes.
There's no point in just asking the questions. That's like driving to the store and not picking anything up when you get there. When you went there for milk and eggs. And if you there's a storm company coming, there's usually toilet paper and milk too.
Right?
Or toilet paper and something else. But yeah, I I also want people to know that these are my beliefs, and I never want to impose my beliefs on people. I'm just sharing my perspective and what I've come to understand in my life. I've never been a fan of people saying, you have to do this way. And as again, we talked about this, there's not just one way.
Yeah.
So when I talk about these things and I may sound firm and I'm like, yes, this is it, I still believe in autonomy. I believe in free will. I believe that we all have our own way of doing things. I like to just give options.
Yeah. I feel like that's what a lot of us need is to have the options, but not to be told what to do or how to do it because it feels very similar to our upbringings that most of us received with parents. I mean, every kid is going to feel like their parent was controlling them because in many ways we do have to control our kids, but it's controlling in the way of teaching them, controlling the way of don't put your hand on the hot stove, controlling the hand so the child doesn't burn. And you do that enough times, if the child still wants to go, by all means, go right ahead, burn yourself, and then that way you will know. And every one of us is different. Every one of us learns differently, and there's no one size fits all. So I'm definitely with you with like everything that we talk about and share is more so for your information only. This is not like written in stone and this is the only way. This is just one way. One of the things that I work with women with is essentially when they're working on themselves and they're married, there's going to be that conversation of a relationship coming up, right? Something, oh, he pissed me off, or he did this, or he did that. And one of the things is, it's like when she, um, when you don't respond in the way that is expected, or if you don't do, like, for example, cleaning the kitchen, right? We all have our own ways of how we put things in the dishwasher, how we put things in that drying rack. Some people don't just dry the dishes afterwards. We all have our own ways of how to clean the kitchen. Some people see it as the clean kitchen is when all the dishes are dried and put away, while others, they're washed, they're drying, they'll be put away afterwards, and the kitchen is clean.
Yep.
So if one partner expects the kitchen to be cleaned their way and the other one has a different way of cleaning the kitchen, there needs to be some kind of a compromise in the relationship because you share in that space. So in some ways, one needs to give in to the other or find some kind of a compromise where one is still going to be giving in, and it should not be my way or the highway, or that's it. Because this is how a lot of people end up kind of like losing themselves. And in the conversation of losing themselves, this makes me think of like getting cracked, like that moment that we we become cracked open, that all of a sudden, it's, some people refer to as the rock bottom, and others like just like the inner knowing of everything just all of a sudden makes sense. So for you, when was that pivotal moment or moments, because I know earlier we talked about it's not just one thing, it's many things that cracked you open, the accumulation, I guess, of things that just keep hitting and hitting until one moment's like, okay.
Um, it, it wasn't just one thing, but I can say that there was a point. I had I had two businesses. I was juggling a holistic health practice, which really was and still is my passion, I owned a banquet hall. And the goal was to merge the two somehow, like be able to have my holistic business, maybe have an office within there and do that. It just didn't work where the location was, and it just wasn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And on paper it all looked great. My business plan was solid, but there were things that I couldn't foresee. And really, despite pouring everything into it, I kept getting message after message that this was not, it wasn't aligned. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept holding on to it. I kept doing everything I could, and I was really burning out more and more. Um, and I held on because I thought I was going to fail, and I didn't want to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finally realized, that I wasn't failing. I have to thank my mother-in-law who passed away. During that time, I was caregiving for her. She was navigating metastatic breast cancer, and I was helping her by going to the treatments with her, and in addition to owning the two businesses and all of that.
Wow. Yeah.
And what I realized, amidst all of the challenges of, caregiving and business, I found joy. I found not like this explosion of joy that we sometimes get, but this quiet kind of sacred joy, because I was stripped down. I was broken open, cracked open, as you said.
Yeah.
It was through connection with her and tender moments with other people around all these topics. And I realized I had been dimming my light. I had been spread so thin across everything that I had to figure something out. And I went within and I asked the questions, what now? What should I be doing? I had closed my banquet hall. I had closed my physical practice and was just doing things online. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Um, and it's so wild. I literally got the answer in a meditation. it came loud and clear because I was like, do I continue doing this work? Do I go back into sales? Because I was doing sales previously. And the message was a rebrand of my business. My business previously was called The Tranquility Way, which was all about massage and relaxation and Reiki and calming. Um, and while I still have the Tranquility Way, and I believe that that is the way for self care, I love self care, I knew something else needed to happen. And magical solutions came. I had just heard it loud and clear. And I was like, wow, that blew my mind. I just was like, okay, magical solutions. That sounds a little woo. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go over. But I realized that in that moment that it wasn't woo. It's about really bringing practical tools for healing together with the wild, beautiful magic, like we were talking about earlier, that exists within and around every one of us.
Mhm.
And like in that liminal space of meditation, I just knew it was so perfect. I knew that the healing that I was going to be offering wouldn't be just about strategies and techniques, which is what we've kind of been talking about. It would be really about the soul and failures. I wasn't failing. It was guiding me to something even deeper. And that magic wasn't something that I needed to chase because it's woven into everything, into the breath that we breathe, our choices, our courage to move forward in the face of things that are daunting. So, magical solutions came about, and it's been magical solutions for over 10 years now, and I love it. I love doing a podcast now, which are all about magical solutions. And
Mhm.
so that was the crossroads for me. It was having to let go of those businesses and form sort of something new and something that was specific instead of very general. Like it was moving away from just the relaxation aspect to solution driven, solution driven.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful name and a very beautiful story of, in order for you to grow and give birth to something new, you needed to let go of who you were, what you had as well, who, and this fantasy that we all fantasize, right? This visualization of who you saw yourself being and the businesses and how they were going to work together, but it wasn't aligning with your own soul, and your own soul needed a solution, and then they found the solution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, I love the idea of helping people recognize that they don't have to chase something outside of themselves, that they can reconnect and commune, like we talked about, with that huge untapped wellspring within them. You know,
Hmm.
boundless creativity, resilience, that inherent resilience, and to me, undeniable magic that's already alive within everyone.
Hmm. Just tapping into it. Did you ever find yourself resisting the call to do this work?
I don't think so. I
No.
don't think that, I think it was just, I don't know if it was a resistance per se. I think there have been times when external expectations and beliefs would sort of have me pause and wonder, am I doing the right thing? And then an opportunity would show itself of how I could do it within all of that. An example is I love being a coach, and I definitely align more with the woo, and I wanted to combine my healing and practice and my coaching. I hope I didn't completely pause. There we go. My screen froze for a moment. I wanted to bring healing and coaching together, and I really had this vision that it would be this way. And it wasn't necessarily playing out that way. And my practice was steady but not growing much. And I needed more income. I needed something steady. I also needed benefits. I wanted to have medical coverage and all of that as I was becoming more mature in my age and getting into menopause. At some point, I would be. Um, I applied for jobs when I could find them as a coach, and they were very minimal, the ones that were out there at that time. And I happened to find one, and I got a practical job as a coach and then became a coach manager. And that's what I do now. I have a very practical job that pays me a paycheck every 2 weeks. And I love what I do. I love the company I work for. Um, I love the people I work with most of all. It is a calling, it is part of what I do, but I also love the other side, the side that is that is very spiritual, that is very, um, very much woo. Um, I believe in magic. I believe in, as I mentioned, that there are unseen truths that can remind us every day about the mysterious, beautiful, deeply interconnections that we have that logic just can't grasp. And I get to do all of it. I'm a
Yeah.
pretty blessed person.
Yeah. Was it always like that for you, or where you like believed in magic and believed in like
It's funny. I think I have always believed in magic on some level.
hmm
I have always believed in my higher power. Like that has been a huge connection. Like as far as I can remember, having learned about religion as a young child and having a deep connection with God, I'll call it God. Other people call it higher power, source, universe, whatever works best for everyone else. I call my higher power God. Um, some people don't have one, and that's okay too. I have always believed in that. So on some level, yes, I love the idea of dragons. I collect dragons. So
nice.
there's a part of me that truly wants to believe that dragons exist somehow, somewhere. I've never been a huge fairy person, but I think they're cool. And I kind of want to believe in that too.
hmm
Mermaids, you name it.
Yeah.
That's definitely going woo, but that's the kind of magic I think most people think of when they think of magic. I love ever since I was a little kid, I've loved fairy tale endings, happy endings and stories, movies that made you feel so warm and fuzzy when they were over. That kind of magic is what I've always believed in. And I know it exists. It exists in a hug you give somebody,
Yeah.
it exists in the tug you feel to call someone and just hear their voice. It exists in a dog that jumps up and down behind you when you're on a podcast live.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
in any moment you want it to be.
hmm You just need to because I know we talked a little bit about this earlier, is that people are just so busy and they're busy being busy that they're not pausing and glancing out that window and seeing the beauty in that moment. Um, More so, they find themselves because I would call this being like soul tired, when their soul is so tired that they become short-tempered, annoyed, irritated really easily, even by, let's say, the jumping dog or the cat that jumps over and, takes over the whole entire seat, right? Getting frustrated or annoyed by these little things instead of seeing this moment for what it is. And it is a beautiful moment because life was full of beautiful moments for those who have trained themselves to see them or retrain themselves to see those beautiful moments.
Yeah.
And then also, life is a horror movie for those who have trained themselves to see the horror in everything. And the beautiful thing about training is that we can retrain ourselves, and we can pick a different trainer, we can pick a different story to tell ourselves, to different way to interpret a situation that we're in, and see the beauty even in the darkest moments.
I would like to gently challenge you on something you said. You mentioned being soul tired.
Hmm.
I don't know that our souls get tired per se as much as our humanness gets tired. And our humanness blocks those messages from our soul. Um, our soul is trying to encourage us all along the way. Take a pause here, take a breath, take a breather. And we're not listening. And invariably, and I've taught this to students when I teach Reiki, which I'm teaching that in a couple of weeks. And I'll be saying this to them. If we're not listening to our soul, invariably we will get a 2x4 upside the head and it will hurt. And I know that everyone can pause for a moment right now and say, oh, yeah, I've had a 2x4 at some point in my life. So
Hmm.
every one of us has experienced a 2x4. And then we can look at it also in 2020 hindsight and go, yeah, I knew that was coming. I just didn't duck.
Yeah.
And it hurts. It hurts.
Hmm.
And I'll be the first one to tell you, I've had lots of 2x4s. I still get them. I am definitively the poster child for not being perfect, huh? Not perfect. I Everything that I teach or I talk about on my podcast is that it's something that I want to remember and something that I want to reintegrate into who I am, reincorporate. It's a message that I'd heard before, I've experienced before, or I've worked with a client about, and I want to share so that maybe it reminds somebody else of something that they knew, or maybe that it gives them something to consider. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, gentle contradiction, challenge.
No, it's this is what all these conversations, all these podcasts, all the connections that we get to have with human beings, where again we're limited to our own minds, our own teachings and learnings, our own journey and our own path. And that's why it's important to have these conversations and, gentle reminders, gentle nudges, gentle corrections, right? um Essentially an opportunity to offer a new piece of information that you do what you want with, right?
And
That's
that's it. Yes.
really what it comes down to.
What do what you will. Free will.
Yeah,
Do what you
exactly.
will. This is information. This happens to be something I think makes sense.
Hmm.
I always ask people to close your eyes, put your hands just like on your heart for a moment, breathe in and think about what is coming up. Like, how is it feeling for you? How are you connecting with it in your body? Does it feel like a capital T truth? Or does it feel like just something that maybe you might want to think about a little bit more? Maybe you're just like, yeah, nope, not for me. How does it resonate for you? Check in with yourself. If it aligns, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too.
Hmm.
It's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this. Like, if it's good, great. If it's not, great.
Yeah, it's great either way, as long
That's the
as.
magic, right?
Yeah.
That's the magic. Either way, it's good.
Hmm. So I wanted to ask you another question. In my communities, there are many women who struggle to be seen as they are, right? Because earlier you mentioned noticing your light dimming and you dimming in your light. Often this is what they would, uh, how they would express it. What would you say has helped you that can potentially help them to stop filtering themselves and just allow them to be as they are?
You know, it's interesting you ask this. It it constantly comes back to grounding, to
Hmm.
being to being grounded, to having a foundation that feels strong in and of myself. So the best way to do that really is through meditation, but it can be as simple as going for walks outside every day and being in nature and just being, like going back to that being.
Hmm.
But that becoming grounded is coming into this moment. When we come into this moment, only this moment matters. The past no longer exists and the future isn't even here. So if we can bring ourselves into this moment, only what is occurring in this moment matters. And when only this moment matters, it becomes freeing. It's liberating. Think about it. Only this moment matters between you and I. We're here right now. This is where the philosopher in me gets a little woo, little bit out there crazy. And you, me, and the dog, right? That's us right now. I don't know who's listening. I don't know who's watching. So, no offense to them. I'm glad they are, but they're not in this moment per se. You and I having this conversation, this is the moment. Phineas joining in, this is the moment too. But my husband in another room meeting, doing meetings, working from home, he's not part of this moment. You know, my son off at work, he's not part of this moment.
Hmm.
I love them. It doesn't change that I love them, but they're not in this moment. So many people bring all these things into this moment
Hmm.
that are unnecessary and clog up what's happening with this moment.
Yeah. I refer to like bringing the things into the moment as that baggage that we carry.
Mhm.
And a lot of women also have a lot of I mean, we all have baggage, right?
We do.
Like it's part of being human. No one
Yeah.
is baggage less. Otherwise, you wouldn't call this a vacation, right? Being a
It's a
human.
question though. Are you carrying that baggage or are you unpacking it? Like I go on a
Yeah.
trip, I pack bags. I come back. Sometimes it takes me a while to unpack my bags when I get back,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
I admit it. I still have a couple things over on that table over there that need to get put away from a trip I did in September. I admit it. Again, said I'm not perfect. Keep my computer keeps pausing. It's that time of day. Um
Lunchtime there, right?
oh yeah, definitely. So do you continue to carry all your bags or do you unpack them? Or and
Yeah.
do you carry just what you need? Like in that moment, what do you need from those bags to get you through that moment?
Hmm. That's a great question. Yeah, and a great way of looking at it as well, because we all carry baggage, but are you unpacking it? Are you making that baggage lighter? And how long does it take you to unpack it? And also a reminder that you don't have to unpack it all. You can take your time, even if it's from September, while you're unpacking things, right?
Yeah, and there are some things that we can unpack and still keep. Like
Yeah, because it's valuable.
it's part of us. It's those
Yeah.
lessons learned. It's those incorporations. That's the incorporating. That's the assimilating, that imbuing yourselves with those things that are really soul lessons, right?
Hmm.
So, I, yeah, I think it's I don't know, it's exciting in many ways to me. I don't mind my baggage. Sometimes it's a little heavy, and then I just have to pause and remember that that's time to unpack and put it aside. Um, maybe it's with a therapist, maybe it's with a coach, maybe I can do it on my own.
Hmm.
Depends on what it is.
Yeah, because some we can unpack on our own or work through on our own, but other things. help and support and even guidance of someone outside of us is going to be potential life changing, because we do not see ourselves as we are. We see ourselves in many ways as we were, or as how we want to be, and often we don't see how we might carry ourselves or present ourselves. A great example will be um, teenagers, right? This is like the perfect example. Everybody knows what a teenager is, and that's why it's like, oh my God, watch out, teenager is home, right? Because the quote unquote mood swings and the things that they're going through, and something like that. When you, or experiences like that, you do not see yourself in the way that you present yourself, and having someone else point something out can help tremendously. Like every time, pretty much in, I wouldn't say in all my coaching sessions, but in many of my coaching sessions, either if it was me with a coach or me as a coach, these were the very defining moments of, can I point something out to you gently, something that you've said, and then we'll talk about that and have a conversation. Because, and for me to receive that, and for me to give that kind of approach, it helps us to see and understand ourselves, so we can have, so we can see our baggage and see ourselves. Because who we're being in this moment is not who we truly are.
No.
This is just who we're being right now in this moment. When somebody upsets us or triggers us or cuts us off in traffic, and that momentary lapse of losing your your shit, right? This is not who I am. This is who I am being in the moment. This is not who I truly am. And
Oh, I'm angry. I'm happy. I am all of those things depending on the moment and what my human experience is. And I apologize. I don't know if you can hear my dogs in the background.
not really. Zoom usually
Good.
does a great job muting the background noises out, at least while we're
Good. Good to hear. But no, I think one of the things that we struggle with is that we have to feel only good things. And that's a misnomer. We can feel the full range of the human experience,
yeah.
and that's okay. And that's part of the magic too, is that, I can be pissed off and then I can be completely calm. That's also
Yeah.
the beauty of being a woman. I think women
Mhm.
have the ability to kind of switch those things a little bit quicker, but I think
Yeah.
we carry those things still too, like we talked about, and we'll process it at a later time. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah, it's
okay.
like digesting our food, right? We just got some new information, good, bad, whatever it is, we can label it. It's still, it's information,
Mhm.
or experience something. And it takes us time to process and digest, to understand, to learn, and to even get, if it angered us, to get to experience that anger and allow ourselves to do that, then to move on to, okay, well, I'm done being angry because it's not fun anymore. What would I want to experience now aside from anger? Because
Yeah.
that's done. Like, let's move on. It's
Absolutely. I mean, and this is, like I said, the full range of the human experience, and I speak to women that women are not necessarily my specific target market, but being a woman, I feel like I can speak to this. We feel all the emotions. We have everything, and we can feel them all in like an hour, even maybe less. We can feel all of them, especially if you're going through menopause. Shout out, and anyone who knows me knows that I'm going to mention that full range of experience as someone going through menopause. It happens. We it's the it's again the magic and the beauty of being a human being. That's the point of being a human being, is to experience. And I could get into a whole belief around, what the soul does as a human and everything, but that's a whole nother podcast. But the the gist is that if we say, if it is true that we were made in God's image and God is the creator, then our role is to create magic, create opportunities, to create joy, to create.
Mm-hmm.
How can we do that? By experiencing,
Yeah.
whether it's joy or pain, love,
Mm-hmm.
hate, happiness, sadness.
Yeah.
We get to understand the full range of human emotions by experiencing
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we
whatever
can
they.
only experience life. And we say we live life, but we don't just live, we experience it.
Yeah,
And all of these human emotions that we have, whether we want to label them as good or bad, they are just that. They're emotions. And the purpose of emotions is to remind us that we are actually alive.
yeah.
Because when we're not, we wouldn't feel, we wouldn't express any of those emotions.
They're messages from our soul.
Yeah,
They're data.
they are.
Think of it. It's data. What is happening? What emotion am I feeling, and how is this connecting to what my soul wants me to know right now?
Hmm.
Hard to do when you're in a full rage moment, but
Well, no, you have to wait for that moment to pass because you got to be present
exactly.
with that rage. You got to
Exactly.
be
But
there.
that's it. But that's it. How amazing is it to have permission to feel and embrace the rage without, like tearing
Uh,
other people down and hurting anyone.
yeah.
Um, but just letting it wash through you and leave
Yeah.
instead of stopping it. And it's still sort of existing there.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I say the same thing to those women who are going through what I refer to as kind of like the cleansing process, where they're connecting the dots, they're awakening, they're realizing that there is baggage that they're carrying. Because many are not even aware that there's baggage that they're carrying. Now that they're realizing there's baggage they're carrying, and they're starting to unload it, like work through it. And when you start doing that heavy lifting of work, like even think of we're all kids, no matter how old we are. We're all children of of
The universe.
existence the universe, right? We're all young and we're all learning. We're never gonna know everything. So as children, know, thinking back of when parents tell you to do the hard things and you don't want to do them, you don't want to do it, you'll cry, right? Because it hurts and you feel that pain. And sometimes you even create that suffering, depending on how young of a kid you are. You create that suffering of what you do in that and how that affects you. Now, as adults, we do the similar things when we're packing our own baggage and we don't want to do that work. And we can find ourselves crying from not wanting to do the work or crying from connecting the dots and finally making sense of certain things that we never understood or saw before, and these aha moments, these
Yeah.
realizations, these moments of next level of awakening. And women would cry, and some would come to me and tell me that they felt bad crying, and I remind them that this is the process. Some women learn to get angry and pissed off, and they learn to yell and scream because they never did that before, while others learning to be more quiet and observant and not take on that role. We're all practicing and learning.
This is self-care. Like
Yeah.
what you're describing literally is self-care. And everyone thinks of self-care as a bubble bath. And believe me, I love a bub tub. I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
I love going in the bath with Epsom salts, candles, really good
Mhm.
music, a little Clapton. I like Clapton's instrumental music. But
Yeah.
anyways, I digress. This is self-care. It's the self-care that we don't really think about. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, And quite frankly, it can make other people mad, and it often puts people on notice.
Yes.
It's it's listening to who you are and what you need. It's listening to the soul.
Mm-hmm. And then following it and following through, and in the end, choosing yourself.
Yeah, it's honoring whatever's coming up for you, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's inconvenient, even if it's even if it threatens the status quo.
Yeah. Or more so, especially when it's inconvenient, especially when it threatens,
Yep.
especially when we're uncomfortable. That is when leaning into that, because if we truly want to experience happiness and joy, all of us do, not all of us actually experience it. But in order for us to get there, we need to know and like and love and trust ourselves. And the way to do that is through ourselves and through all of the discomforts. And most importantly, is learning how not to blame the external world and for your circumstances, or this car cut me off, or he pissed me off, or she pissed me off, and all the external events, blaming your life and where you are and how you feel on those external events, when they are simply just a reflection of our own reality. And if we don't like our external reality, the way that we would change that is by changing our internal reality. And our internal reality, um, more or less, is the dialogue that we have, how we see ourselves, how we view ourselves, how we understand ourselves. Um, and I want to ask you, as we're wrapping up now, I would want to ask you, for those women who are just becoming aware of the baggage that they're carrying, and they just started to unpack all of the things that they have been through in their life, and some of these things are actually really difficult for them to even speak of the things that they've been through, and some of the things that they'll never speak of, right? And as a woman, you can probably imagine, right, the direction that that would be going through. So, to all those women who are just aware of the baggage, and then they're awakening and realizing that they're becoming, basically, they're starting to take responsibility of what their life is like and where they are, and healing themselves in the way that they can take responsibility for their own part and role in the way of maybe not even understanding of what they were going through, what they were dealing with, or not saying yes to the things they want to say yes to. Um, what would you say to them of what's on the other side, essentially, for them, of doing the work that will help them to keep going no matter what, to keep pushing forward and through. Let me see if I think we might have lost Megan there. Okay, let's give it a minute. She might hop back on. Uh, okay. Oh, there she is.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. My internet went out. That was lovely. You were asking me about the women who have just discovered that they are the awareness of the challenges in their lives that they've experienced, being a victim or a saboteur, or um, their understanding about their inner child.
Yeah.
all of those things. I would say, first of all, you're not alone in this. Everyone has these archetypes within them. Number two, can don't give up on the healing. The scariness of all of this is real, but there are qualified professionals to help you. There's therapists, there's coaches, depending on what you're needing to do. They can help you with this. And find your village. Find who is there to support you through this. Find your group of people, your circle that will lift you up. Maybe it's one person, maybe it's five people. It's different for everyone, but find them and talk with them.
Hmm. Yeah. Honestly, that's very well put and said on where not only to start but to continue,
Mhm.
especially I would say especially having that support, the right support in your corner to help you through all the other parts that you yourself might not find that inspiration or motivation for yourself to even just get out of bed and get your day going and started. That help and support from community, tribe, um, what, even if it's a maybe a group or a coach or a mentor or a therapist, finding someone who provides that safe space to work and process those things, because they're not necessarily easy, and they're also not necessarily hard. The hardest part is starting. That's just like like that for anything, is just starting. Just starting to do the work. Just starting, you asking yourself that question over and over in your head. Just write it down, get it down on that piece of paper um or not audio or on that video or on wherever it is that you are using as a form of release, right? Because earlier we were talking about like writing things down.
Mhm.
That is a very great way to just get things out and connecting with your soul and understanding not only where you are, but also who you are. And as because we see ourselves from the past and in the future, also seeing ourselves where we want to go from this present moment.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you, Megan, for sharing all of your magic and realness and being, sharing your heart with all of us today, and bringing so many beautiful and powerful reminders for all of us. Um,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I just wanted to ask one question because I feel like that's something that would avoid a Google search for some people.
Totally understandable.
Right? So that way it's kind of like, because I had this question in the beginning and then I completely forgot. Um, how would you explain to someone who has no idea of what it is that you do as metaphysician? Like, what is it that you explain to someone who just like, I don't know what that is. Please tell me.
Um, Ultimately, I'm a coach. It's more about coaching, and because metaphysics is often treated like an abstraction, but to me, it's really the study of what makes experience real. Belief, attention, identity, symbolic meaning. Um, these shape behavior more often, I believe, than circumstances do, but
Hmm.
circumstances obviously do play into it. And what I like to do is help people change the level at which they perceive things. that change that and change the level at which they live as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the practical side of metaphysics that I don't know that everybody really delves into.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I do metaphysics through coaching, through hypnosis, through chakra balancing, through tarot readings or oracle readings, soul journeys with people, um, and the like.
Yeah. I love that. I love that explanation. It helps to understand more beyond just um, the one word that maybe even Google search wouldn't explain it in that same way, because it's your personal approach um, on essentially how you help people to live the life that they want to live and abandon the one they don't.
This, I again ultimately like to help people remember what their soul already knows.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so
Because
much for this.
often we forget, right? And we need to remember enough times. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being on here, sharing, open up. I absolutely love this conversation. And those of you who are listening and you love this conversation and you love Megan, feel free to go and follow her and find her on all her socials as well. Share this podcast for with someone who you know might benefit from this information that we talked about today, or just share it in general, right? Getting the word out there help that will help people to live the life that they're putting on the back burner and waiting to live. um, so thank you, Megan. Thank you, everybody, and I'm sure we'll have another one of these podcasts one of these days again.
Would love it. Would
Yes.
love
Awesome. So thank you, everybody, and until next time, have an amazing day.
it.
Thanks. Bye.